Hey, what is up guys? It's your boy Speed here, and today we're going to be doing a match analysis of Yatoro's Lifestealer, and let's get into it. So the first thing I'd like to quickly do is look at the change logs for this hero and cover kind of the major changes. Funny enough, recently in 7.35, these are the most recent changes, he was actually nerfed to nerf the early levels of rage movement speed. Right, it's not that big of a deal though, because in the previous patches, the hero received major buffs. A couple of instances of this is that Infest cooldown is way better than it used to be. Ghoul Frenzy movement speed slow is way better, especially in the early levels. Rage cooldown is better. His talents are better. And most importantly, in 7.34d, Feast enemy max health as damage was increased by 0.2%. Which is a big deal because this hero has really high attack speed, and this is how the hero heals, how it does damage, how it sustains its HP pool in the laning stage, when farming ancients, just while doing everything. Why isn't this hero good then, if it's been buffed pretty hard, outside of obviously these changes? Well, to be fair, during this patch it actually was very popular, then it got nerfed, but I don't think these nerfs are that big of a deal, and I do think that the meta is pretty favorable for Lifestealer. A lot of the popular offlaners right now don't like Lifestealer, and so yeah, we saw Team Spirit pick this hero twice in a row. It won both of the games, and I really do believe that this hero is underrated, especially because of the offlane meta being countered directly by Lifestealer. Alright, before we get into the main part of the video, I do want to let you guys know that I'm not only posting videos here on YouTube, I also frequently post videos on the website. If you don't know what I'm talking about, almost every single day I'm posting a new video to the Game League website. We're going to teach you guys in depth about how to get to the next level. So if you want to become absolutely broken, click the link down below and sign up. Okay, so a couple things to note about this hero is it's actually pretty bad in the early levels. A lot of people get this wrong. They look at pretty decent damage at 59. Decent, not great. Decent armor at 4 for a strength hero. Extremely good movement speed at 320. And they assume, oh, this hero is a very, very good laner. It is, but in the later levels. So early on, really the main thing you want to do, and you can see it here, is he's going to skill up his W. Pray his support can get the range creep, which Miposhka did, so bless up to Miposhka. And then generally just chill, right? Like, he's trading here just because of the fact that Miposhka was getting gone on. Miposhka kind of got outplayed there by the Blinding Light into Centaur Stomp, but you don't want to actually actively go through the wave and hit people unless a scenario like that comes up. And really the main weakness of this hero in the laning stage is its lack of range creep secure. And it never will have one. At no point will it have one. Essentially, it has to use its body in order to get the range creep, which is not good. And in pubs, when you have no synergy with your 5, this can present a real problem. So in this case, you'll see Miura pulse aggro on the range creep, and look at what Yatoro does. Completely ignores it. You know what a lot of 3Ks would do here if you put them in this pro game? They would go for the range creep. You know what would happen? They would take half of their health, and they would still get the range creep denied, because they would get stunned or blinding lighted. And I assure you, this is a big reason why Lifestealer can get punished early on if you don't understand the hero. So generally, you just have to give up these early range creeps, or hope you're laning with a Crystal Maiden, so that you have a hero like Rubik or CM or something like that that can get the range for you. So from there, you take your E at level 2, and whenever you're missing health, don't be afraid to shove the wave a little bit. Like, you can attack the creep wave just for the sake of healing, and it is a good idea, right? Obviously, if you're mainly playing for lane control, you shouldn't do this. You just have to identify if it's a big deal to shove the wave or not. And the main way you should think about that is like, is there a pull? For instance here, like, if this camp was pulled, then him pushing the wave to heal is definitely good, right? Because they're gonna pull, they're gonna get the lane back, and he's gonna get the heal. Now, getting into the later levels, like level 5 with phase boots, this is when you become an absolute menace for these heroes like Centaur, right? The Centaurs, the Underlords. You're just a major, major problem because they just can never trade with you. They have such a high HP pool, and so your W gives you 2.2% of their health as lifesteal and 1.3% of their health as damage, right? The only reason he's actually going to end up dying here, but the only reason that this happens, and it's a good play from BetBoom, is because they keep 2 heroes in the lane, right? They keep the Kotl in the lane, they keep the Centaur in the lane, and they're just going to bully him with like a variety of nukes. And this is a Lifestealer problem. He doesn't have a great way to actually fight back against like consistent nuke spam. And so, yeah, it can be a problem, but I actually think that's part of the reason they love the Lifestealer this game. The Kotl hero isn't very good at pressuring. It's definitely one of the more mid-tier pressure heroes, and that kind of allows the Lifestealer to play the lane and not really get bullied, especially in a scenario. But as I said, he does end up going down, gets solo killed by Miro, caught off guard but stunned, so really well played by Miro, just outplaying Yatoro there. I mean, that was a huge kill, like, I'm pretty sure this game would have ended way earlier if Miro didn't make that outplay, because Yatoro would have hit an early 6, the Centaur would never get a kill, and then there would become a huge gap in net worth just because of that. But all of a sudden, the Centaur's beating the Lifestealer, so like Miro just proving why he's honestly one of the best right now. I mean, BetBoom's doing incredibly well, it's not surprising. Okay, now in terms of items, Bracer, right? Phase Boots, Gloves of Haste. You might be wondering, like, should I buy Blades of Attack or Gloves of Haste? Generally, Gloves of Haste, just because it enables your W, right? The more hits, the more feast. Just, you know, it's just good. So definitely do that. But then you're just rushing an armlet. You can buy the Helm or the Blades of Attack, just depending on the lane, right? If you're afraid of getting ganked, then you should buy the Helm. If you feel like it's complete free farm, you can buy the Blades of Attack just to farm a little bit faster. And yeah, Lifestealer gameplay from here on out is very, very simple. You have two options, but they're both very simple options. If you feel like the enemy offlaner can't do anything against you, you can strictly just static the wave for 8, 9, 10 minutes and make sure they don't get a single creep, especially if it's an offlane hero, let's say like Night Stalker, right? And he can't jungle. Staticking the wave permanently under your tower, especially if they don't have a pole, is broken and a good strategy, right? You'll completely deny the offlaner of any real way to play the game, and that is good. However, in this game, because the Centaur got that kill on him, and Centaur's not terrible at playing against Lifestealer, he decided to just push in the wave and then farm the nearby camps. It's pushing the wave, farm this camp, pushing the wave, pull, pushing the wave, farm this camp, right? You're just trying to push in the wave as fast as you can so you can farm the camps around you. If you can pressure, static the wave. If you can't, push it in and farm. Now, we're going to see his first TP of the game, which he's pushing in the wave, pretty standard. This is another reason why pushing in the wave is good, because if the wave is dead, you can be more inclined to TP, because you're not going to miss lane creeps. Lane creeps are always number one. So TP's in here. Probably wanted to infest this puck. Just remember, guys, infest, great tool in the early game. Arguably, your best tool in the early game, because it heals for a ton. When you're inside of the person, it heals you, but also you give them 400 health, and when you leave them, it also heals them. I think for 400. So it really is like an insane early game ability. Infest is a great save tool. And honestly, this hero defensively TPing is actually very, very good. And I think that was part of what he was going for there. If the puck died a little bit slower, he could have definitely saved him. So after that kill, he shoved out the mid wave, right? Working towards a neutral item. It's actually a bit of a shame that he doesn't have a neutral item yet, because all of them are very, very good on Lifestealer. I mean, I always stress how good neutral items are, and like not having one 12 minutes in is actually a gig of grief, because something like Seeds of Serenity means that Centaur's Double Edge will deal no damage to you, right? You can practically ignore him entirely and play much more aggressively. Getting something like Spark of Courage on a hero that has incredible attack speed is really great as well, right? So getting, you know, Spark of Courage or Duelist Gloves or Seeds of Serenity or Safety Bubble just allows you to play much more aggressive or farm much more quickly. And okay, he's continuing to play his lane. Basically, Lifestealer, you just play your lane for a really long period of time. While you can farm Ancients on this hero, typically what you're trying to do with Lifestealer is not take that area of the map, not pressure your offlaner to leave, enable your offlaner to farm their lane. And the way you do this is just not going to their lane, just being strong enough and survivable enough to continue to farm your side of the map, playing the dead lane, right? So this is how you should see Lifestealer. It's a hero that enables your other heroes to just continue to play their lane, continue to flash farm their lane. And you'll see in a moment he's able to avoid a smoke gank that comes shortly by just reading it, right, and clicking Rage and TP. Okay, so from there, let's talk about some of the more interesting items of Lifestealer, and another reason why this hero is way better now and why its win rate has increased. And that is the Radiance buffs and the Sanjin Yasha buffs. So what were the buffs? Well, Radiance gives 5% more evasion because Talisman of Evasion was buffed. This is really good in a lot of Lifestealer's bad matchups. For instance, something like a PA, or this game, a Meepo. Having evasion early game is incredible, because then during Rage, you're practically invincible. So that's really nice. Then, they buffed big parts of Lifestealer's kit in Sanjin Yasha. This is one of the most buffed items of the patch, right? 100 gold cheaper, definitely nice. Status resistance, 5% better. It is really strong. And then the health regen and lifesteal amp, of course, your Lifestealer, your life stealing, got increased by 3%. So it's just a really solid overall buffs to this item. This item is much better now. And of course, Lifestealer is one of the best heroes in the game at buying it, because a lot of heroes need a damage item, right? They need a damage item to carry. Lifestealer, his W is his damage, right? And so he can just buy a sustain item like Sanjin Yasha, which gives him insane movement speed paired with his naturally high movement speed, phase boots, and then of course, rage movement speed. right? You put all this together and you essentially can't be kited. Your max movement speed, your haste movement speed. Okay, also in terms of farming ancients, keep in mind Armlet will hurt you more than it helps you. When you're farming and you're actually needing to heal, keep your Armlet off. When you're full HP, turn it on, take about 20% of your health. You'll see he turns it on here when he's coming to full HP. You can hit a couple of times and then you kind of have to turn it off again, which is a bit of a shame with Armlet. It's part of the reason why some people experiment with like Maelstrom on this hero, because the Armlet, what you need to understand about Armlet is it's really good for farming lane creeps, shoving the wave quickly, because it's very high damage, and it's the best fighting item by far, due to the fact that it gives you, I mean, this item gives crazy damage, right? It's 35 damage, 25 strength. That is a 60 damage item right there. And then it gives 15 damage flat, so it's a 75 damage item. For reference, Radiance, in terms of right-click damage, gives 55. Armlet, an item that costs 2,500 gold, gives 75 damage, right? It also gives you 4 armor and slow resistance, which is actually quite nice, right? But okay, at this point in the game, with the Armlet, you can TP in, join fights. You always should. If someone needs to be saved, like for instance, he maybe could have tried to save his Lifestealer here. But yeah, your movement speed is incredible on this hero. He actually did go for the Infest on Collapse. Maybe he just felt, because there's 2 ways of using Infest. It's to like burst save a teammate, or it's to reset and save yourself when Rage is on cooldown. Why he did it here, I'm not exactly sure. Maybe he just thought the casual heal would help the fight, turn the fight. Don't exactly know why. That one was kind of weird, because typically you use it on a low HP hero, or you use it when you're low HP, or if you feel threatened. That was kind of in between, which was a bit odd, but nonetheless, it healed him and his Primal Beast, which, you know, has some sort of an impact. From there, it's back to farming, and once the laning stage breaks down, like all other carries, you're gonna farm Ancients, guys. Just Ancients, Ancients, Ancients. When the laning stage is done, probably around minute 13 on Lifestealer, you can really stay in your lane for a long period of time. You're gonna farm Ancients, and you're gonna TP into fights. The gameplay should almost never falter from this. Just keep it simple. And then yeah, you're just really fast, right? Turns on his Armlet, he's gonna chunk down the Caudal, kills him in about 6 hits, 5 with the help of the Phoenix. And then one of the nice things here is they picked the Meepo into Lifestealer, but Mega Meepo gives Meepo a ton of health. And so Lifestealer is actually pretty good at killing Mega Meepo. From there, he's gonna buy Sange, and I couldn't agree more. One of the things I think people do wrong on Lifestealer is they buy Yasha first, and you might be like, oh, why? It's the better farming item, right? Well, it is the better farming item. And you could argue if you're just farming that Yasha is better, and I think there is an argument for that. However, in teamfights, one of the main weaknesses of Lifestealer is his low HP pool. Without Sange and with Armlet off, you have 1700 health. That's a very burstable HP pool compared to something like Sven that would have like 2.5k, 2.7k HP. You're pretty burstable for a hero that wants to sit on the front line. And so the Sange prevents that from happening. Status resist, and of course, an HP pool, as well as just natural lifesteal and HP amp, is going to make sure that you're full HP when you're walking into the front line or hitting a tower or doing anything a little bit risky. Okay, the next thing that I have to talk about is the talents, and most importantly, the shard. Let's start with the talents. So at level 10, he took Rage movement speed. And so now your hero runs at 30% movement speed for 6 seconds. So literally haste. I think there is an argument for infest damage, but because it's like good early game, right? But the Rage movement speed is just too consistent over all the levels. At level 15, both these talents are really, really good. I think because you're buying Sange and Yasha and you get it around the same time as level 15 in a lot of games, you can kind of opt for that 30 damage and use the Sange as the HP to not get bursted. So I think either are fine. You know, 350 health is a great talent. Then at level 20, either of these are fine. I kind of feel like Ghoul Frenzy slow, it's already a 30% slow, but getting it up to 45 is usually pretty nice. So generally that's what people are gonna take. And then finally level 25, once again, both of these are really great. 1.2% feast lifesteal and damage. I mean, it's a huge increase, somewhat close to a doubling in the feast damage. It's more like 70% increase. But rage duration is rage duration, you know, BKB late game is BKB late game. So it's tough. But all right, getting into the shard, really, this is one of the most insane things in the game. So the victim recovers movement speed over the duration. So you slow someone, right? You slow them by 50% when you first use it on them. It lasts for 7 seconds at an 800 cast range. The cast range is insane. It doesn't cost a lot of mana. It's extremely low cooldown. And also, you deal 2% of the target's max health per attack on the target from real heroes. This includes all heroes, so your teammates as well. And also what's really insane is that this ability gives spell lifesteal. So if someone is affected by open wounds, they just heal like crazy. They heal like crazy. And if the target that is open wounds takes 500 damage, it spreads the open wounds to someone in a 700 radius. 500 damage. They're going to take 500 damage late game like that, right? This shard is one of the most broken shards in Dota. I feel like it's at least top 10. I mean, you read it and you're like, no way it does all of the things that I just said. Lifesteal, damage amp, spell lifesteal, slow, it spreads. It's like, this shard is insane. Like, anyone who doesn't buy it after Sanjin Yasha is out of their mind. The only argument for not buying it is maybe you need the armor from AC for some reason, right? You don't have Aegis and you want the plate now because you're dying to some Sven or PA or whatever. But other than that, please just buy the shard. It is broken. All right, and to see the final fight play out as he goes in here, I mean, this hero, it's just a threat. Basically, he zones out all of the backline here. Bet Boom goes on the backline, and then he's going to look to drop and open wounds as soon as he can. Of course, it can be dispelled. This is the weakness of the ability, so you have to be a little aware of dispels. But yeah, when he goes on the Meepo here, he's going to absolutely chunk him, right? I mean, you just destroy heroes in the late game. So yeah, Lifestealer scaling is insanely good. He mans up very, very well with this build, right? The Sanjin Yasha being way better now into the AC, it's an incredible scaling. And I expect to see a lot more of this hero, mainly just as a response to some of these strength offlaners like the Centaurs, right? It's just good, man. You know, Primal Beast, Centaur, that was the main point of this video, show you that you can slow down the Centaur. Of course, if you don't get caught off guard, they put a lot of emphasis on trying to shut him down, right? Save on the Coddle really put a high emphasis on trying to bully out Yatoro, and it did work to some extent, right? Got the Centaur a kill, which saved his game. But all right, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one, and I'm out. Peace.
And that's all, but remember, before you leave, come on, before you tune out, subscribe to the Game Leap website, where we are going to help you get to the next rank. If you're stuck, click the link down below, and I'm out. Peace.